Hey everyone, so I was getting some questions about where to start on the wireframe. So I'm going to quickly walk you through how we start our wireframes in Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and XD. Now for those of you who want to use Sketch is really similar to XD, so I think all the lessons I teach you here you'll be able to translate into Sketch. So I'm going to start with my least favorite, which is InDesign. Adobe understood that people were using InDesign to make web things, so they do have a web here. Now the first ones you see here are for web publications. So these are not the sizes of your website. These are for if we do like a branding guide that we need to be digital. So if you go down, you can see kind of web sizes here. You can really do, the minimum web is 1024 by 768. Now 768 is generally the size in pixels of the actual screen. So that's everything above the fold. So this is my 768 right here. Their 768 is right after this, We Are Nearsighted Studios. This one's right here. Basically, you can see a lot of people use this above the fold area to make a really good visual impact, as well as put buttons and calls to action. So right when they pop on the page, they have somewhere to go besides just the navigation. So your minimum size is this. I'm gonna go ahead and pop in here. And then for your height, remember that websites are longer than they are wide. So just go ahead and put whatever number in here. It doesn't really matter right now. And then everything else should be good. You don't need bleeds or margins, obviously. Pop in here. So here's your website. So you just go. This is how we're going to create a wireframe. I'm just going to go here. We'll do different grays. There we go. So let me go ahead and do 768. Cool. So now I have a full header that takes up the whole screen. That is the same size as the color as the background. There we go. All right. So you guys basically know what you're doing. I don't really need to teach you to use Adobe. Especially those of you who have taken a lot of publication classes. So there's my navigation. I'm going to right align that. 13 is minimum for web text. I usually put this at a little bit above that, so we'll do that 16. As always, the Lato font. And let me remind you, because we were super busy yesterday and doing a lot of things, if you want to, actually you should, this should be your best practices, you should download the fonts that you want to use for your website so it can be in your wireframe. We go to fonts.google.com and you can go through all of these web fonts. These are web fonts that are going to work on every single browser, and they're really compatible with WordPress. WordPress usually puts them right in there for you. And if you want to download it, you just pick your font, you go to add, and it comes into this little family selected area, and you just download it right here with this little arrow. So that's how you get these web fonts onto your actual computer. So here we are here. I'll put the logo right here. Oops, then they should probably line up. So there you go. That's the beginning of your wireframe in InDesign. I'm going to get out of here. Okay, cool. So another one that's really popular to use with websites, especially for people who are going to put a lot of like illustrations on their website, they will do Illustrator. So right in Illustrator, you can see that they have these preset sizes. They have web right here. So their web is at 1920. That is the standard size for web design right now. So remember that everything we make for web can either be stretched really big for big screen sizes, or it's going to be really small. like on a mobile device. So don't worry too much about your sizes. They'll be resized in the browser as necessary. So again, websites are longer than they are wide. And let me just show you this again. So yes, it's a square right here, right? Or a rectangle, whatever. But when you scroll down, you have to design all of this. So you really need it to be tall. If you printed this website, it would come out looking more like this. So the height doesn't really matter at first. Don't really worry about that. Basically, you just come in here and you start building. Let's do 768 again. See if I can't get that number to really stick in your head as the above the fold. There you go. And then let's say that you designed all of this, you designed all of this. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and make a footer. Black. So remember how I told you that the height doesn't really matter? You give yourself all the space you need to design your actual website, and then you just come and you change it. Like that. Now you have a wireframe. One of the good things about Illustrator is you can just document setup, new artboard, and there you go. Now you can do all your pages on one. Next is Photoshop. Photoshop is my second favorite for designing wireframes. So you create new. You go to this web right here. You have your sizes. See, here's your 1920. Your general web size. Here's your web minimum, what we saw in InDesign, the 1024. So I'm going to go to the 920. I check off my artboards because I'm not crazy about Photoshop's new artboard, but you're welcome to keep it on because it works more like Illustrator when you're working with the artboards. So let's just create. Again, Adobe made it a rectangle, and I really need it to be higher here, so I'm just going to stretch it out. Like this. Unlock this, make it white. Rasterize, color, layer style, boom. Okay, now you have a white background. Oops, and then I hit the crop again. So we do the same thing here. We just go in. Don't forget your grid. So if you want to bring in the web grid to any of your documents, you can find it by Googling website grid 12 column. Here's your web grid. You can pull that in there. I wonder if they have it for... Ugh, I don't like any of these. This one could be good. Just pull that in there and stretch it. I'll just save that to my desktop. Photoshop. There we go. Oop, that's one I saved before. There we go. And then you just can move your little markers. I'll just do that for now. So I'm going to make my header. What size do we do here? We do height, 768. Boom. Pull it up here. Stretch it. You have your header again. You don't always have to do your header that big. If you want your main navigation to be in its own element, like mine, you can do that here. Uh-oh. Sophie. I know there's a squirrel. Oh, yep. Shh. Good girl. Okay. Uh-oh, we might need to take a break here. She's going to freak out. So you have your header, and your main navigation can live on its own. You can just do that here. Then you have your main navigation and your header. And then you can just kind of design as you need to through here once you make your footer. I always do that. There. Then you can just, oh my gosh, I made this so long. And you just pull it up. Cool. So there's your website. A lot of people are asking me about where you can get your images. And my favorite source for images is unsplash.com. It's basically a community of photographers that share their work for free, and it's free use. So you can use these. I like this one, so we'll download that. And I'll just pop that into my wireframe. Oh, that's my footer, rectangle. Oops, that was dumb. There. Now you have your header image, you have your footer, your logo and main navigation can go up here. But again, how I started, I just went to create new. I went over to web and I did the 1920. I'm going to make a separate video for XD after I kind of show you how to get started in it, just so you can get a better understanding of how to use it. So when you get into XD, you have iPhone sizes, iPad sizes, and you have this web 1000 by 20, 1020 I mean. So you just click here and it brings you to your web. Now my favorite thing about XD is it literally shows you where the fold is going to be. So I'm going to make a separate video because QuickTime only allows me to do a certain amount of time. So I'm going to walk you through XD in the next video.